Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. Take a guess at who the two players are. It's a Protoss versus Zerg. It's from the North American server, spawning down the bottom right hand side of the map. It's puCK. And the Zerg player in the top left hand side of the map, completing this, it's JimRising. For those of you that don't know, it's a bit of a meme at this point, how many times I cast them on this channel. That's just because they put out good replays, they play good games, and I'm able to cast them. But I'm literally going to make a, words are hard, guys. I honestly just did another cast, and then basically it didn't work out. There was an issue with the replay. So unfortunately for that never happened. But as far as JimRising and puCK go, they play an absolute ton. A bit of a rivalry, there's no doubt about it. Whether they want the rivalry or not, they just meet each other on the ladder. There's a bit of banter and stuff here and there, but this is all, like, if you guys have heard, there's a bit of a meme and whatnot. Or I guess, is it even a meme if it really happened? Like, there's actually been best of 69 show matches between players like Parting and Top did one, Peely and Jon Snow, Snoot and Bunny. Those are the three off the top of my head in which the players literally sit down and play 69 games in a row, or whoever wins the most of them, and they go a long time. So in a way, we're going to be doing that. And the goal is to eventually cast 69 puCK and JimRising 1v1 casts, and then to see who will actually be the player who comes out on top of that. So eventually when we get close to that, I'm going to make a legitimate playlist. I'm going to tally them all up, and it's going to be like a cool montage of all my casts. And anyway, as this game's been going on, I've yammered on a fair bit here. puCK's got his Nexus on the way, his Cybercore on the way, and then just scouting out with his probe. Been being a bit of a pain with this probe. Looks like he's been harassing a poor drone that's just trying to work. puCK's going to have to get out of there with his probe as the two lings are on the way. But no, pretty standard stuff going on right now. And we'll see how puCK and JimRising are going to play this one out. Okay, so, I mean, as far as what else is going on, there's not too much in this game. So, random tangent inbound, you guys know how it is with the first minute or two in these casts. puCK's going with his usual adept scouting. Pretty standard stuff at this point. Actually turning his probe around, which is somewhat interesting. I guess just gonna go check out the third base while his adept moves in. But anyway, as far as what's going on, I mean, gonna be casting a Freak of World on Friday. Make sure to tune into that. I linked that in the description of actually all my videos. So this Friday, 6 p.m. You guys, if you want to see some good StarCraft, it's gonna be one of the usual events. The VOD for that will be coming. So make sure to check that out. And then as far as other things in the StarCraft world, there's like a upcoming potential balance patch. I don't even know what to say about that one. It's a doozy, that's for sure. And then there's also WCS starting up. There's been a bit of drama and stuff with that. Maybe I'll just have to start delivering StarCraft news like 3 minutes at a time until the game really starts heating up. And heat up at will, as puCK is going to be going for a Dark Shrine. He's got that Twilight done, going for a Robo. And then JimRising, though, on the other hand, just playing it safe. You never know what's on the way. Going for some Spore Crawlers already. Gonna be moving in with his Overload, though. Gonna be looking for something. Sees a few gateways on the way, which is sort of probably like, alright, you're not gonna be going for Mass Stargate or anything, most likely. And then he gets his Overlord in here. Does he spot what he's looking for? Actually, he doesn't just yet. There we go. He sees a Robo tucked in at the back. That is Chrono boosting out a Warp Prism. Overlord goes down. And as far as that goes, yeah, as far as that goes, I mean, JimRising didn't really see too much. I mean, Zerg players, they're aware of like the common builds, and the DT rush with the Warp Prism into Archon drop is a pretty common build. JimRising's already got Spores on the way, so I imagine he'll be fine. The Spores were fairly early to be safe, so I mean, his economy is not fantastic or anything, just like at 37 drones. Eventually that number will surge up, and we'll see if he takes any damage to harassment or anything. puCK warping in these DTs, morphing them right into Archons. So I mean, just being like, alright, not even going to try and pull a quick one on you with the DTs. Maybe he could have, maybe he couldn't have, like, sniped a Spore or something. You never know. It's always a bit of a gamble, but as far as this goes, puCK just going for the standard Archon drop. Going to be microing to the best visibility, picking up and dropping with that Warp Prism. And here come in these Archons, going to unload on top of these Queens. A few Roaches are popping out. puCK has to be very careful. You're basically a babysitter when going for an Archon drop, making sure that that Warp Prism nor any of the Archons die, because it's an expensive loss to lose either of those. Well, really, you lose the Prism, and then it's a massive loss. You lose just one of the Archons. It's still unfortunate. puCK trying to nab off a probe or two, but we are seeing that his Warp Prism is getting low on the health. Gotta be careful not to lose it, and oh, I must have jinxed puCK. puCK loses the Warp Prism, taking a fair bit of damage there. Well, just like to his place in this game, like he just got knocked back. Losing that is hard. I jinxed him. I should have, you know, knocked on wood, but it's too late for that now. Of course, that does happen. Protoss players, you go for Archon drops so many games, and you're going to lose that Prism some of them. And while it puts you in a poor situation, it doesn't put you in an unwinnable one. However, I do like the follow-up for JimRising. He's got a Spire on the way, got some of the safety Roaches, and the very standard Protoss follow-up to their opening is usually something like double Robo Immortal, because Immortals are somewhat catch-all. Looks like we got a bit of lag that seems to have resolved itself. But yeah, puCK's doing exactly the standard follow-up. The most common, that's for sure. Going for the Immortals, getting out charge. And JimRising with the Spire. This could hurt puCK. However, puCK actually getting double Stargate on the way. Did he scout this? Or does he just have really good intuition? It seems like he's got good intuition. Getting up double Stargate. And that's going to be an interesting play. Immortals are still being produced, but the potential to build Phoenix will really shut down anything like mass muta. puCK is getting in here with a hallucinated Phoenix, and does it actually see the Spire? Yes, it does. So puCK, assuming he looked out where that Phoenix scouted, he should have seen that Spire. JimRising moving out on the map with his Roaches and whatnot, but puCK, he started the double Stargates just to be safe when you're unaware of what his Zerg's doing. And of course, guys, puCK and JimRising play 1,000 times a day or something like that. So you never, like, puCK's probably familiar with that JimRising likes to make mutas from this position now and then. And there he goes, Phoenix flying in once again, just trying to get that confirmation. Nothing speaks volumes and puts a player on edge. So puCK, he's now making Phoenix, so he should be safe from the mutas. I mean, it really is all about knowing. Sometimes mutas can catch a Protoss player with Stargates even and win a game, but that's not too common, and puCK is getting more than adequately prepared at this point. Just 1 or 2 shield batteries and a few Phoenix really shuts down the mutas. So we're already seeing JimRising planning on taking this game later. He's getting up Pathogen Glands, got 1-1 on the way, and the Hive is on the way. Now, third base, JimRising going for a bit of harassment, but beautiful force fields going down from puCK. Just those Roaches are getting locked on in. They are on house arrest, not getting anywhere. Now, JimRising out on the map, but not finding too much so far. Mutas are now flying down. Forgive me while I have a drink there, guys. I did do another cast just right before that. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out, so I was like, you know what? Tried and true, JimRising versus puCK. And I'm doing it, guys. I'm gonna make my way to casting a good number of their games and making that meme of a playlist. Anyway, 1-1 gonna be finishing up for JimRising. This is gonna make his Lings a lot better. I mean, Lings aren't terrible versus what puCK has. He's just got 1 Archon, of course. He can always make more of them. But JimRising, that'll help out his Banelings. However, he's just getting up Adrenal Glands. So he's going to be playing Ling, Hydra, Infester, which is an interesting style, not unheard of. The Phoenix are now also out on the map. Looks like all the mutas died, so puCK doesn't really have anything to fear as far as muta-lists go. JimRising is transitioning. And with all these mutas dead, puCK can fly in. Maybe he can nab up an Infester. Actually gets fungled, so not going to be able to find anything. But still going to have those. If you got them, you may as well try and use them. But they're really going to be secondary to puCK building up his main army, which he's getting up a high Immortal count, getting up Psystorm, which really is the ultimate Protoss composition. And oh my god, this is a lot of Immortals. This is 8 Immortals. That is a ton. I don't know how much Immortals weigh, but I'm willing to bet that there's over a ton of Immortals here, out of 8. puCK flying around with his Phoenix, by the way. He made the 6, and he's like, well, I got him. He's actually got 5, pardon me. Counting is hard. But, no, he flies on in. He's like, yeah, I'll try and micro these while I'm macroing up my 4 bases, getting all my tech. The one thing that's nice for JimRising, or he's got a few things that are nice in this game. Of course, the opening wasn't horrible for him. Gonna be losing some lings as they get force fielded in. puCK's force fields are absolutely beautiful. So picking off all those lings is nice. But one of the things that is really nice for JimRising in this game is the fact that his upgrades. He's got 2/2 already on the way, whereas puCK is just getting up +1. I mean, puCK invested into all those Phoenix, so he had to cut something somewhere. And it seems to partially have been in his upgrades. He's also getting flyer weapons, so planning a transition maybe into carriers or Tempest, but for now we are seeing puCK move out. He's pretty much just got Immortals and High Templar. But by golly, is he going to be going for the push? JimRising, interestingly enough, has made Immortals, or made Ultralisks, pardon me. And Ultralisks, they do counter force fields, but puCK isn't going to be heavily relying on those. And I mean, 8 Immortals should destroy any amount of Ultralisks. The concern, though, is all the Hydras, which are not terrible versus Immortals. Without Psystorm, Immortals will lose out to Hydras. And JimRising, he's making an interesting composition here. He's really playing with this. So he's got Hydras, Immortals, Infestors, and Lings. So really playing a melee style. JimRising deciding to go for a counterattack on puCK. His army is still waddling back towards this 4th base. Of course, there's some Immortals here, and they absolutely just tear through Ultralisks. They just do not stand a chance. Now, so that army of JimRising is retreating. I mean, every Zerg likes to make some Ultralisks. They're good units, but Immortals do a pretty good job of shutting them down, and Protoss tend to make Immortals pretty much every game, just because they are a pretty strong standard unit. Now, Phoenix are flying over. puCK probably going to want to dump that supply at some point. They're not going to be too useful for him. But here we go. He is moving across the map. Oh, puCK's moving out, though, and there's the Infestors. Fortunately, he does have an observer, so he does identify this. However, Neural Parasite going down. puCK stepping forward, though. Funk or Storm's going down on the Infestors, trying to free his units, and he does manage that. Another Neural Parasite going down. One of his Immortals no longer belongs to him. puCK is being forced back. He's lost a few units, getting some Psystorms off. His own Immortal is still fighting versus him. Immortal versus Immortal action in a CVP right now. puCK, his Immortal returns to his side, though, and he is now going to be able to push into JimRising. Both players, I mean, I feel like they're just fighting with a part of their army, and JimRising traded off, puCK traded off. I think that was better for puCK, but JimRising, he is remaxing, though, and puCK is going into carriers, so JimRising's going to have to worry about that. Upgrade-wise, JimRising is getting into 3-3. He's already got Adrenal Glands, so his Lings are going to be able to put in serious work, and they're heading to this base down at the bottom here. So I don't know if puCK's going to be able to save this one. Lings get a wraparound. They're going to start causing some chaos here. puCK's still only on 4 bases. JimRising secured up a few more. However, one of these bases may not be long for the world. puCK is looking to move on in. JimRising's got to defend. He's got spines, but we may be seeing why we don't see Ultralisks versus Protoss at this point. They cannot help beat carriers. Phoenix are even moving on in, not really doing too much. There comes in a big Immortal. Lings around. There's the rest of JimRising's army. Psystorms go down, though, picking off a lot of the Lings. Can the Ultras do it, though? puCK is backed into a corner, so not able to kite with those Immortals and actually loses everything. However, there is now 2 carriers in the air, which are going unchecked. And for those of you that don't know, carriers do pretty much negative damage to Ultralisks. Just look at how slow they are. JimRising just burrows. Says right. Yeah, carriers take a long time to kill Ultralisks, guys. Interceptors deal 6 damage, and Ultralisks for JimRising have 6 armor. However, look at all these DTs that are going to be moving in. puCK noticed that he did, in fact, kill all the Overseers of JimRising. JimRising, though, getting up another one, so being prepared for that. And this game is going later. I mean, JimRising's traded out a fair few units, but we'll see if he's able to come in with something that'll beat down puCK. JimRising has made a fair few Corruptors, which do well versus carriers unless they have support. Now, Overseers or DTs are moving on in. working away on JimRising, who's now going to have to make up a few more Overseers since those DTs are there. But here we go. We are going to be seeing these Corruptors move on in, and there's actually nothing to protect these carriers. High Templar are now just coming down to join up with them. So we'll see, can these Corruptors pick off the carriers before they all go down? They're working away, but they're being Psystormed to high hell right now. The Corruptors, though, have picked off all but 2 of the carriers, and the Ultralisks are working away on this base of puCK, who's going to be starting to mine out. Ultralisk is engaging all of these DTs. The Overseers are still alive, and JimRising's bringing in more. So puCK's not going to be able to use that for defense. However, he has managed to rout JimRising, who is now just producing even more Ultralisks, getting up a few more Corruptors. But I'm pretty sure that was a darn good fight for the Zerg player. And if we look at the supply, it really tells the story right now. Here we see another base is going down for puCK, and suddenly he's still on 4 bases as a Protoss player. 15 minutes in the game, the main base pretty much mined out, the natural going to be mining out. The 3rd base even getting there too, so puCK really just has the 4th base, which isn't going to last forever, as it's already starting to wear thin a bit. So puCK got to secure up a 5th base, got to be able to actually defend it, but JimRising just coming in with the right amount of units. And here we see Ling's coming in, puCK having his 5th base canceled once more. puCK versus JimRising is always a treat, guys. JimRising, though, he's just got so many bases. puCK hasn't really been able to harass. Maybe if he had out a Warp Prism and was able to get a Zealot Warp in at some of the bases, but he never managed with that, though. But he's still in the game. I mean, he's never dead. He's got Psystorm. He's building up an Air Armada, and that can be a very powerful composition in the late game. And so the longer he survives, the better chance he has. But JimRising just seems to be trading pretty adequately for someone in his position. He's building up a bank. He's probably going to be looking for another fight relatively soon. And if we look at this, puCK's 4th base is even starting to mine out. So economy-wise, it is not looking too good for the Protoss player. JimRising even securing up another base, getting up Spine Crawlers. There's 1 Zealot in position. I'm not sure where he's going to be able to make it. Another, or actually a DT's moving in, however, JimRising with his static defense. That's how you win my heart over if you're a Zerg player. I say that every time I see it, but look at that. He's completely safe from that DT harassment and doesn't really have to pay attention to defending it. puCK desperately trying to get up this 5th base, throwing up cannons, going to be getting up some shield batteries to try and defend it, but JimRising might not even give him time for those to be secured. Here comes in the Zerg player heading towards that 5th base, and puCK can't even really afford to have this canceled again, but it looks like that may be the case. JimRising working away on this base. puCK's going to have to cancel once more, so his economy is getting hit hard. JimRising loses, and Ultralisk loses a few Lings, but the cancellation of the base is absolutely massive for the Zerg player. puCK's economy is just not there. He's now moving out with his army. I mean, Immortals are going to work well versus Ultralisk, but JimRising building up a ton of Infestors, which is just going to be really what he needs to close this out, I bet. And if that doesn't even get the job done, there's Broodlords on the way. So he's really ready to challenge puCK on every single front. Ultralisks are going to be moving on in. Cannons and a wall actually do surprisingly well versus Ultralisks, and this is a nice wall out of puCK. Like, Ultralisks, they take a while to chew through 1000 HP warp gates. 2 Ultras are coming on in here trying to pick off a base. There was actually 3 pardon me, but now there is 2 as one of them died. And puCK, I mean, he's just desperately trying to get up this base, and he is building up that late game strong army. Sometimes what the Protoss just needs to be able to push the Zerg over, but make no mistake, this situation is still looking very, very tough for the Protoss player. Right now, puCK, I mean, he's equal on supply, but if he loses this army, he cannot afford to remax really. He's having to fight so hard just to secure up 1 base, and he finally gets it up. Someone get us like some candles or whatever to blow up, because puCK has finally gotten up towards his 5th base. But JimRising still pretty content in this game, and with all of these Infestors, like, Zergs have been getting really good with their Infestor use. They're like, you know, Neural Parasite, it'll get the job done if you just take over everything that your opponent has. It'll work, right? do apologize there. Uh-oh. It appears that part of this game was cut off the bottom bar for puCK. Are you kidding me? I do apologize about this, guys. Editing on air. I realized I'm in a replay, though, so I can pause the game. Very, very professional. This is odd how it is misshapen. Or maybe that bar is just in the wrong spot. I would explain it. I'm very silly. I do apologize about that, guys. Hopefully that this cast has turned out. Otherwise, I'm having horrible luck with casting tonight. puCK sacrificing probes, just wanting to build up the best army he can because he knows that this is really all going to come down into that one fight. But JimRising is staging on the front of puCK's base, and it very well could all come down to this one fight. Infestors are there. puCK knows it. Gets Revelation on the Broodlords, not on the Infestor zone. That's what puCK really has to look out for. JimRising, though, just being like, all right, I'll even take your own bases. puCK could be in a lot of trouble here. I mean, he's got an economy up, though, so as long as he's content turtling. But these days, I think it's not bad for Zerg the longer a game goes on if they are sitting back. Now, okay. Oracle gets picked off. Cost JimRising a Corruptor or two, so possibly worth it. If we look at the resources lost, JimRising is slightly behind. But now we're seeing the Broodlords are going to start sieging away onto puCK, and JimRising's going to have to do something, or puCK's going to have to do something about that, pardon me. Tempest working away on these Broodlords, that's going to be getting picked off. The two Broodlords actually die, and I mean, engaging up a hill is tough because the Infestors can't quite be in position. JimRising wants to catch puCK out in the open. And apparently puCK is already planning on securing another base, the base to the right location here, the upper right. But I'm not sure he's going to be able to get that done. He's going to be very careful. This could be the fight that JimRising actually wants if he can bait puCK out. And if he can do that, it'll actually go very, very well for the Protoss, or for the Zerg player, pardon me. Infestors are lurking full on energy. JimRising starting to mine puCK's precious gas on his side of the map. And that is a big deal. Lots of infested Terran are moving forward onto puCK's side of the map. He's got to spend the time right-clicking on every single one of those. Meanwhile, just building up another Oracle. They constantly sacrifice himself for Revelation, although puCK has only lost one. He's very good with his Oracle control. And then just building up his upgrades, getting his armor for his carriers. I'd like to see him start researching shields for all of his units. That would even benefit his cannons and whatnot. So that would be nice to see, but we are seeing puCK. He's investing in a ton of pylons here. He's serious about getting this wall up to the front because puCK has been starting to build up his own bank here, but JimRising stepping forward. Does puCK have an observer with this army? I mean, Infestors are there, but where's the observer? Okay, it's just joining up with the army. This could actually be very tough. Here comes in JimRising. Neural Parasite going down on absolutely everything. Psystorm's being dropped, but the Infestors are staying alive. It looks like that Psystorm's being dropped on all the Corruptors, though. JimRising has taken over a lot of the units in the air, though, and puCK never managed to finish them off. I think the Observer must have been picked off. And puCK's air army, it looks like it's going to be falling near. Everything is dying. His Tempest no longer fighting for him, and I think JimRising managed to do it. GG gets called. Very well played by JimRising. And guys, I do apologize for that little bit at the end there. I had a weird thing going on with my OBS, so I had to fix that. It's basically like you guys were just watching a live cast, me doing production on the fly. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this cast. JimRising versus puCK. Just something to, you know, little sate you over until we get into the serious StarCraft. Not that JimRising versus puCK ladder rivalry is not serious, but these guys, I mean, they play a lot. Anyway, so Afrika World will be on Friday. Feel free to check that out. If you guys check out my Twitter, I'm always putting out information on that. And if you guys also check out my Twitch, I'll be streaming Bomber versus Dong Regu, a best of 9 show match on Saturday morning, bright and early, 6 a.m. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next time. And oh, let's try and hit, say, 10 likes. If you guys have stayed this long, make sure to hit that like button. Otherwise, I shall see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.